Cancer, hi, great to see you. Great to see my subscribers in particular. This is your Cancer June 2020 reading. And let's get things underway. Do you know, I'm going to use a Thoth tarot deck for you this month. We're going to have a good tarot reading. This is a great deck. It's got a lot of, well, what I think is very interesting esoteric and spiritual symbology in it. And so I'm going to use my pen to point out a few of the more salient features of the imagery as they take me from time to time. So let's get things underway. Now, a lot of people ask me questions about myself, and so rather than do particular answers one-on-one, there's a collection of them, and I'll just talk about some of them here, and that is that, do I have a day job? Well, you think I shouldn't give up my day job? Well, I don't have a day job, and I don't have a night job, and I've been doing this for over 25 years full-time. I retired, I suppose, when I was about 38 as a result of a good stock market back in the 90s. But the thing is that I do this, and I do readings for people, and I do healings. When I say I do healings, I am the vessel through which healing can occur. And some spirits, of course, are trapped in this realm, and they come into buildings, and they come into people's houses, and they can come into all sorts of places. And of course, one of the gifts that I have, there's the Queen of Wands, is the ability to discern spirits and to find out what they're doing here and gently nudge them along or take them with me to go to a better place. How long have I been a clairvoyant? Since I was born. The fact is that even as a little boy, I just knew things. There's the Four of Swords, good. And I always had the gifts of clairvoyance, of healing, of understanding and knowing and ascertaining and discerning spirits. About 28 years ago, the woman with whom I was in love died suddenly. I won't go into the details. And for me, the sun went out and the birds stopped singing. And about 6 months after, in grief, I was meditating, or in a trance really, and it was as if a pair of very dark sunglasses was then removed from my eyes, and I could see everything and understood the connection with everything. Well, I didn't fully understand it all. I definitely could see, and I find out more and more each day, because what there is to find out is infinite, and of course you can never get to the infinite. Why do I do these things on YouTube? In short, this is the Four of Discs. Look, I've been given the gifts that I have been given to help other people. And there are things that I will say in here which will have meaning for you, and which will give you calm and peace and let you know that you are loved. Well, a question about my children. All I will say about children, for the obvious reasons, is that I am a father, and I have more than one child. There is the Two of Discs. Anything else here? Do I have any hobbies? Yes, philosophy, physics, well, physics, cosmology and quantum mechanics, I suppose, and evolutionary biology. And I can tell you, if you're in any doubt, and I'm a science nerd, and I can tell you without any doubt that if anybody in any of the sciences tries to tell you that there is no divinity, that there is no God, that there is no life after death, they are wrong. I can tell you that. They are wrong. I know it. Anything else there? Probably anything about... I don't think I'll be talking about my personal life in that respect. And here we have art. Anyway, there is enough talking about me. Let's now talk about you and find out what there is in store for you this month. All right, Cancer, let's have a look at this Queen of Wands first, shall we? Well, the Queen of Wands, the First Lady of the American theatre, in many respects. Here we see a queen seated upon a throne with a leopard sitting at her right side. She has her right hand on the leopard's head, and in her left hand she holds a rod with a pine cone at the tip. Now, as a queen, she is water, and in Wands she's in fire, so fire and water are enemies. They weaken each other, and therefore she'll have contradictions in her nature which are hard to resolve. I think the people who are going to be important to you during this period are Pisces, Aries. That's what I'm getting coming up from it here. So this is a person, could be male or female, that has some contradictions in their nature. Now, despite the fact that she is a very strong person, those contradictions are there, but this inherent imbalance in her makeup means that she can sometimes cross between her light and dark sides very often. Now, yeah, I really am getting Aries there, and I'm getting Pisces here. The reason why I'm getting that is that, and that can sometimes cause problems, because what we have is, we have the spirituality and sensitivity of Pisces with the strong will and ambition of Aries. And this doesn't always produce positive results, but the Pisces aspect to it, I think, is going to give you sensitivity and inspiration, and the Aries energy that I'm getting up here is going to give you a great degree of leadership and self-confidence. Let's have a look at some of the... How can I do this? There you go. Steven Spielberg. I am not. Okay. Let's have a look. First of all, let's have a look at her crown, which is here. Now, there are 12 rays of light emanating from this crown, and they represent the 12 signs of the zodiac. It is also open and expressive and is connected to spirit. I think that this implies an integration of her personality and connection with her different traits. I think it also suggests that she has worked through issues to be able to have a clear vision. See, the zodiac is on her crown itself. You may not be able to see it. The zodiac signs are there. So a crown of knowledge of what the different signs bring to the world. Therefore, she relates very well to other people, I think, and this ties in with her compassionate side. Now, her throne, of course, is fire. Her passion, ambition, and energy to get things done and assert herself are represented by this. Now, sometimes this translates as imposing her will on other people. The flames are steady, though, which says that she has gained an element of self-mastery and control of herself. Now, this is very interesting, because this is like a fish, this thing here, this clasp, which is holding together her cloak. And so that also, to me, has the tie-in with that energy of Pisces that I'm getting from it. Now, this pine cone that she has on this sort of wand has several associations. I won't go into them in detail, but it certainly is associated with Bacchus, who was the god which enjoyed, well, drinking and girls, I suppose. But it's a symbol for prosperity, fertility, hedonism, and pleasure and enjoyment. It can also represent, I suppose, here the penis with the sperm ejaculating forth. So it's quite creative, this aspect to it here. Now, the Queen's eyes themselves are closed, and this reminds us of this intoxication and absorption she has with her life, as she is fully committed to accomplishing her goals. I've got to say, though, that with this card and where it's placed, there is the There is a sign here, I think, that she's normally quite a goal-oriented and hard-working person. But the shadow side of her can mean that she can sometimes rest on her achievements to the point of not making best use of her talents. There is here a great confidence, I think, to go out into the world and fulfill her goals and to establish herself, really. And she has the authority and the presence that people respect and has lots of innovation through Mars, which I see in Aries, because I'm getting that Aries sign there, to make a great success of what she chooses to apply herself to. I also think that this is the case that you will be making a very good and very powerful first impression upon other people during this period. And I think that people are going to find you very, well, sexually attractive, very attractive in a sexual sense. Now, I'm not suggesting you do anything about that, of course, but well, it's better to be thought of than not thought of, isn't it? This is somebody, I think, now going through a process of self-discovery and remembering how powerful they are and reclaiming their life, and I think this is what you'll be doing. Now, you'll understand that you have got to this point by resolving difficult issues in the past. Now, she has a very strong character as a result of doing that herself, and I think this is reflecting what will be the case with you. This is a time to express your natural power and beauty and move on from the past. Yeah, I'm really getting around here a strong, independent leader focused on her goals and someone who knows what she wants. I think you'll be leading, interestingly, you will, now this might sound strange, but I kind of think that you'll be leading quite an active life. Now, this may well be over social media at the moment, and you'll have a lot of creative energy, and very much also, I'm getting through here all the time, this great sense of this powerful first impression that's coming through. Whatever it is that you're eating or taking, I think I need to take some of that myself. Well, in this card sitting underneath her, we have the Two of Discs, and this is the yin and the yang symbol set on a white and black discs encircled by a crowned serpent. And there are purple and indigo rings in the background. Yeah, well, what's it mean when we come along here? Well, the first thing is this, is that I have Jupiter ruling the first decade of Capricorn, is what I'm getting up from this. Now, Jupiter in Capricorn, well, this might seem to be a potentially inharmonious relationship because Jupiter is all about philosophy and expansion, whilst Capricorn wants everything to be conservative and practical. But it doesn't work out too bad, as we, in this card, the two, we're very high up in the suit. It's only the ace which is ahead of us here, so that's a good thing. Now, yin and yang. Change is the only thing in our material world that we can depend on, well, I suppose apart from death and taxes. So we have to learn to go with the flow in our life and trust in this process of change so that we might find harmony and balance. Now, this top disc rotates to the left, the bottom disc rotates to the right. Not all change is easy, so we have to trust that what lies ahead is for our greatest good. Now, there are the four elements being fire and water, earth and air are in the eyes here. The fire and water symbols are there, and the earth and air symbols are there. The serpent coils around the yin-yang symbols and represents the constant infinite motion that characterizes life. It can also, I suppose if you were to turn it that way, it could become like an infinity sign, which says that really change is never really ending, is it? There are 7 points on the crown of this thing here. Now, mystically, I have an association in the number 7 with the planet Venus and of love. And so I think that there is great love to be experienced by you during this time. So what do we have? We have I think what we have is the need for you to learn to go with the flow in your life and trust in this process of change so that you might find harmony and balance. And this is a time of such change, isn't it? Constant changes in fortunes can make things difficult to get off the ground, but they do come off the ground. Now, there's nothing financially or materially set in stone at the moment. So I don't have any fears about that. And there is great harmony here within the sort of discs, which is about standard of living. Now, this two of discs kind of brings you back down to earth and reminds you to not only, well, it kind of reminds you to not only focus on your spiritual life goals, but to also make sure that your day-to-day affairs are in order. This is a card of good management of your practical affairs and finances. Now, it may sound boring having to focus your attention on these more mundane issues, but this card reminds you that sometimes getting on top of your daily affairs is just as important as pursuing the more enjoyable things that life has to offer. Well, let's look at this, the Four of Discs. Now, this depicts a castle, I suppose, with four towers which are rising up from each of the corners here, surrounded by a blue moat with a yellow wave pattern in it. You see these little yellow waves going here. The gates are the 4 points of the compass, I would say, with the main gate here being at the southern entrance. Now, I really have the sun in the third decan of Capricorn here, and here's Capricorn again. Now, Capricorn is a feet on the ground, eye on the prize sign. Those with the sun in Capricorn have a realistic, grounded approach to life that can be seen no matter how dreamy the rest of their birth natal horoscope chart happens to be. These people know how to do things and how to get things done. Well, I think what happens here is that the sun energizes Capricorn's earth, and material benefits and authority are the result. Now, the sun in astrology is the symbol of your dynamism or power, and Capricorn is the application of your power out into the world in a useful and practical way. However, in the story of Midas, King Midas, everything he touched turned to gold, even his loved ones. So there's also a warning for the limitations of this card, that material gain and authority are not all that there is to be if one wants a fulfilling life. Let's have a look at some of the imagery in it, shall we? See what's there. Well, first of all, a fortress. So what I see is that there is a strong sense of power of keeping things out and within. The castle in the center of this card here represents yourself and your material possessions, I think. The drawbridge, which goes through here, shows that you have control about what you let in to your life and what you let out. The four towers each contain one of the elements, and here are the elemental signs on the top of them there. Now, this southern gate really is the main gate, really, isn't it? It's kind of it look, for me, in esoteric terms, it really does represent earth, material and matter, and it's reinforced by the Capricorn glyph that's here, which says that this is demonstrating that this card refers to the way that you empower yourself practically in the world. I think that this is I get the sense that this is a very material sort of a card. This is very materialistic. Look, there's a need for you perhaps to set limits and boundaries. become more established in your character and integrity. Now, life is going to be orderly and secure, but you may feel that it's barren and discontented in a way, or you may have some sort of a discontentment going on. The orange background here hints at this, I think, orange being the color of the sun. But our life may become a desert if we are too constrained and emotionally not fulfilled, or if spirit is missing from our lives. Now, the castle can be your sanctuary where you find your inner voice, or it can be materialistic and something to show off to others. Very often, I've found that when this card appears in a reading, that the person is looking at a situation where they need to make practical decisions, and also where they need to be true to themselves. And I think what this is doing here is it is showing the need for material stability, even though you, as a person, are not naturally given to stagnation at all. Now, you might also be being tested not to give your personal power away at this time, and so you probably want to think about discriminating about where and to whom to say no. Sometimes you might need to draw a bridge up and stay within your inner sanctuary so that you don't give too much of yourself away. But in summary, look, this is such a good card. It's talking about financial and material security being important to you, and that you have the solid foundations in place. You're willing to work for what you want, and you have confidence in applying yourself to the world. You're a dependable person who acts with integrity, and I really do see the fulfillment of your dreams and ambitions coming through here, which is great news, is it not? Let's have a look at this. Okay, now this is what is it? The Four of Swords. Okay, oh, well, here are the swords there. Well, I'm looking at this. The four swords are symmetrically arranged over a green St. Andrew's cross. It's called a St. Andrew's cross because, as tradition has it, there was a guy called Andrew who then became sainted, who was crucified with his arms that way and 1 foot there and 1 foot there, so that he was crucified in a way which was different to the way that the Christ figure was crucified. So that's why it's called a St. Andrew's cross. And I just happen to know that there are 49 petals here. This really is a rest from conflict. So you have a mind that is negotiating some sort of temporary resolution to things at the moment. Look, I've got Jupiter ruling the third decan of Libra. Now, Libra tries to find balance in your life. This need for balance can cause a lot of unrest to achieve its goals, by the way. Now, on the other hand, Libra can also sometimes induce indecisiveness rather than action. So ironically, Libra can sometimes, not be a move ahead type of a thing. But Jupiter is giving you a period of rest from a difficult situation, as well as an open or higher mind flexibility, which is needed to resolve conflicts in life. So from Jupiter, you're able to use higher mind to see things from a different point of view. Now let's have a closer look at some of the symbology and see if it can add anything to what my first impressions are here. These yellow spiky lines going everywhere, they represent air. Libra is an air sign, so that's interesting. And it represents conflicts that have or are taking place in your life, and now you're getting some respite from them. The Four Swords, which I see as really as being aspects of you, are protected from the chaos at the moment. Now, the St. Andrew's cross we've talked about. Green as a color, incidentally, is also associated with Libra, because I see green as being, in this sense, that green for me is very much associated with the planet Venus, and Venus happens to be the ruler of Libra. So there's that coming into it as well. This 49-petaled rose that's here, that's 7 times 7, and that is the mystical number of Venus, which rules, you got it, Libra. The four sword hilts they happen to have on them, though you may not be able to make it out, the four elements of air, water, fire, and earth. And the points of these swords are sheathed within the rose. This indicates that you now have some respite from the conflict within your life, and you need to recharge your spirit, as is represented by the rose. Now, there's a blue background coming behind these yellow things here. Now, blue is very much associated with Jupiter, which is why I get Jupiter here, because Jupiter adding expansion of consciousness when this phase of truce has passed. Now, this doesn't mean that life is going to be easy straight away, but you've got really good potential and really good energy for changing things for the better in the future. So it's time to take a bit of time out from a stressful situation. Look, if you could take a holiday, that would be great, wouldn't it? But that's the type of thing, and it may be a time to reorganize your life so it's not so stressful. It could be that something is not resolved, but lurking underneath, waiting to be confronted again. And when the time comes, again, from your bed of mental rest, then get hold of those decisions or fears or challenges, because you will be successful at it. But make the most of this mental rest period in order to be at your strongest when you need to face the issues at hand. But don't overindulge in taking time out, because situations and problems and unavoidable circumstances of living life can grow into bigger or more challenging problems while your head is still under the covers. But trust your intuition to know when enough time is there for you. Finally, let's have a look at this, which is the Art card. Now, this might be called Temperance in other decks. What's very interesting about it? Let me have a look at it and see what there is. I don't look at this deck very often. Let's have a look. Well, here we have Sagittarius sign. Okay, that's straightforward. This is a biblical Hebrew letter which is called Samech. Now, Samech means prop or crutch. And I guess what this is saying, that when you give up your material props and put your faith in your spiritual path, your life will be enriched. When you face your fears which dwell in your subconscious, you unravel the difficult aspects of your nature that are unresolved. And then you throw away the prop of being comfortable in where you are, and you move to a place of inner and outer beauty, working through these energies that have stagnated beneath the surface of your subconsciousness. Now, there's a Latin inscription around the, let me just look around there, around the edge there, Visita rectificando in Venice occultum lapidem. My schoolboy Latin translates that as visit the interior parts of the earth. By purification you will find the hidden gem or stone. Well, this actually describes the process that's going on in the cauldron, isn't it? The burning away things that you burn away and then find that beautiful inner self that's there. And isn't this the perfect time to be actually looking inside and thinking about who you are and what your true life's purpose really is? I mean, yes, of course, it's a great time to be with family, naturally, and to make sure that you're staying on top of your friendships with people over the phone or Zoom or FaceTime or Skype. But I think what this is talking about, this card in a nutshell, is this, that you are really, I think, during this time, you are really learning to bring about balance and moderation in your life. You have been able to take the middle road, avoiding extremes and maintaining a sense of calm. Now, keeping calm in situations of great stress or anxiety, do that. Don't let things get to you, and find a place of peace, which is what this was talking about in any event, where I think that you could put things into perspective when they get hectic. There's a need to strive for balance and tranquility, because that's going to help you achieve and experience fulfillment in your life. Now, this card also reflects learning in what you are doing and demonstrates that you are learning a great deal at the moment in your life's journey. And it can also mean about reintegrating those things back into you, that bit of you which you had forgotten about, bring it back in and bring it to the fore. I think it also talks about learning of boning up on things, using this as an opportunity to get onto the internet and to hone your skills, find out more knowledge, find out different points of view. I think this is also asking you to be patient so that you can act with conscious intent. Patience and moderation will result in good management of things. Don't feel that you need to rush. Just let the situation evolve at its natural pace. I think in summary, its emphasis really is on reintegrating yourself. It's on reintegration that we have seen really as a bit of a central theme in this card. It's talking about self-evaluation in order to re-examine your life's priorities. I think you are now seeking a much greater balance between your inner and outer selves and searching for a higher meaning and purpose in life. Throughout this transition, you may also experience a clash between your established habits and ways of thinking about yourself and your new evolved vision. Just keep looking inwards without fear, but with a calm determination to overcome any obstacles in the knowledge that you are moving on to a much better, harmonious life. That's the way it is for you this month.
Well, you were fantastic in that reading, as you always are. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did providing it to you. Do you know, I love doing these readings for you, and I'm glad that you get so much out of it. Now, make sure to check out the description if you'd like to have a personal reading, and just let me say this. You are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. But until then, it's bye for now.